What's going on, guys? It's Kyle here, and today I'm going to tell you a story about the first time that I got high. Alright, so, man, I must have been 12, 13. I had a friend, let's call him Bundo, right? And Bundo, he had an older brother, let's call him Benji. And Benji was known to partake in the devil's lettuce quite a bit, if you know what I'm saying. So anyways, we're all just hanging out one day. It's pretty early in the morning. I think I stayed the night before or something. But anyways, Benji, he just pulls out these two things. I have no idea what they were. They look like two little logs, you know? Being the young kid I am, I'm just curious. But anyways, he lights one of them up. And it's got this weird smell. I'm not questioning, you know? I was just like, whatever, this is cool. And then he tries to hand one to me. And I'm looking at Bundo like, man, what is going on? And he's looking at me, he's like, nah, man, just do it, it's cool, it's fun. So I'm like, alright, whatever, you know, I trust my friend. So I take this thing and we're just chilling, and a couple hours go by, whatever. And at this point, I am completely out of my mind. Like, I had never done anything like this before, and I don't know how to feel, but anyways, John comes back downstairs and he's like, dude, my mom's tripping, you gotta leave. And I'm like, oh man, what about my parents? You think I'm cool? You think they're gonna know? And he was like, nah, man, you're cool. Knowing damn well he knew I was out of my mind. But anyways, so I'm like, alright, cool, man, cool. So I'm walking home, whatever, everything's all cool. Feels nice outside. And I get home, I walk in the door, and my parents are looking at me, nothing out of the usual. So I sit down on the couch, you know, and my dad, he's like, Kyle, go get me a cup of coffee. So I'm sitting there like, alright, cool, bet, I've done this 100 times. So I get up, I grab his cup from him, and I walk in the kitchen. And for some reason, I had completely forgot what he had asked me to do. So I sit there, and I start doing the dishes. I'm just in the kitchen, I'm doing the dishes, thinking like, yo, this is totally normal. I'm just doing dishes on a Saturday morning at 10:30. Everything's all cool, and then my dad calls me. He's like, Kyle, come here. I'm like, yeah, Dad, what's up? He's like, what are you doing? I told you to give me a cup of coffee. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Dad, I'm sorry, I was doing the dishes. He's like, oh, okay, well, just go get me a cup of coffee. So I'm like, alright, cool, I'll go get you a cup of coffee. I'm not kidding. I go back into the kitchen, and I'm frantically looking around. Now, I know my dad told me to do something, but I had no idea what it was. I had completely forgot at this point. So I'm sitting here looking at myself. I'm like, man, do I go ask him, or do I just bring him 2 forks? So I go into the drawer, pull out 2 of the biggest forks we had, and I walk back into the living room. I sit on the couch, and I hold up these 2 forks in front of my face. And I just sit there for like 10 to 15 seconds, not saying a word. My mom and dad, they had paused their show at this point, and they're just staring at me. And I had no idea what was going on. I'm just like, what? You guys didn't ask for 2 forks? At this point, my dad, he knows something's up. He's looking at me, and he just says, Kyle, are you high? I was freaking out. My dad was real hard. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, what? Hi? No? And he's like, Kyle, I asked you to give me a cup of coffee. I was like, oh yeah, I thought you guys asked for 2 forks. So at this point, I get up real quick, I walk into the bathroom, and I'm just looking in the mirror. I'm like, Kyle, you gotta get your dad a cup of coffee, man. Quit messing up. So finally, I walk into the kitchen, and I'm starting making this cup of coffee, and everything's all good, and then I finally go back in the living room with the cup of coffee, and my parents, they want to talk to me, and I'm like, okay, cool, my mind is, I'm not even, panicking or anything, because I can barely think straight, so I'm just like, yeah, I got him a cup of coffee, barely remember what just happened. So anyways, I'm talking to my parents, and I completely forgot the conversation we just had. So my dad sits down with me, and he's like, I'm just gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, son. I don't think you would do that. I had no idea what he's talking about. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then after that, I just went up to my room and crashed. I passed out. I just passed out probably for like 6 hours. Man, that was such a long time ago. I can't believe that. But yeah, ever since that day, I've never forgotten this story. And it's like, what, 6 years later? 7 even? I don't know. That's crazy. I tell it all the time. And all my friends think it's hilarious. Just the image of me holding up 2 forks in front of my dad. It's a sight to see. But yeah, guys, that's the story of the first time I got high.